Hi, everybody. Golly, it's good to be home. It's always good to be home. I sort of forget the order of things because I'm in so many places these days, but so when I do some strange thing out of order, just love me. It's really wonderful to be here. I'm so glad to be with you today. So, we have members who have joined our center today, and all of us reestablishing our loving connection to this center. I thought it would be a good time to perhaps share some ideas around things that can come up in your life as a member of this community. You know, we have our Eastern tint a little bit. You know, we kind of lean to some of the philosophy and ideas that you might see in the Eastern ways of thinking and seeing. For example, this is to help you remember that perhaps as a member of this center you may gain a deeper understanding of the principle of karma, also known as what goes around comes around. Or you may hear from your teacher, sure, email is fine so long as there are no attachments. You may develop a deeper understanding of ancient wisdom, like that of the Mayan chief who once said, look, you only got room to go through 2012. That's really going to freak somebody out someday. No one's getting in, huh? Yeah. Or you may someday ask your teacher, what do I do when I've freed myself of all desire except the desire to free myself from desire? Yeah, sit with that one for a while. In seeking to embody a deeper value of meditation, you may have the thought, let's do this inner peace, I've got a big day ahead of me. And of course, living in the 21st century, you may one day exclaim, I have a nagging inner voice that's telling me I'm trying to fill a profound spiritual void through technology. Do you have a device or an app that could help block that voice? It's good to hear y'all laugh. Yeah, you got to keep this light. Life is too important to be taken seriously. That's Oscar Wilde. He had plenty of stuff that he could have gotten into, but he enjoyed his life, as do we. Yeah, isn't that wonderful? So, I want to talk about God's life. We do that treatment. I've been going all around the country. In fact, I've been out of the country. I've taught that our identity prayer in Toronto, Canada, and Jamaica, and I'll be in 2 weeks in Monterrey, Mexico, teaching the people there how it is that we see ourselves through this prayer. And it just resonates in me so much. I know that within myself there is that life which is perfect, complete, divine. It was never born and cannot die, for it lives and is God. Within myself is the wholeness, the peace, poise, power of God. This life is health, it is abundance, it is love. There is one life. It is the life of God, and this is my life now. So God's life is your life, is my life, and there's no getting away from that. There's only one thing going on. However, there are those days when we forget, when we get caught up in the minutiae. There are those moments where something looks bigger than us. Something looks like it's too much to deal with. And life seems to be the problem. But life's not the problem. There actually is no problem. Whatever's going on in your life, it's simply life calling to you to know who you are. To know that your life is God's life. And to make no exceptions in the midst of that. Divine presence dwells in you and through you and as you in every moment, in every circumstance, in every way. Without exception. That's how this works. So that's the work. It's always the work. And when an example comes along that is profound, I need to bring it to you. And I had one of those in my life a couple of weeks ago. You know, Barbara and I went out to a seminar. And we do that pretty much every year. And often we fly into San Jose, which is way cheaper than Monterrey, California to fly into. And we rent a car and we drive out. Well, this time we went and we played a little bit in San Jose for a day. And then we drove down the coast from San Jose toward Asheville. And while we were doing that, I just in passing said to Barbara, you know, I'd love to go see the redwood forest. I've never seen one. And we looked them up on the map, and they're all over the place. There's little pockets of redwood forest all over Northern California. And we did our quick little Google research and found one right off the path that we were driving along. So we went. And my GPS let me down, and we went in a circle for a while. But we finally found this little patch of little. It's funny to talk about redwood trees and little in the same conversation. But we went and did that. And it was amazing. What an extraordinary experience. This is what it looked like. That's one tree. And that's not the whole tree. That's just the part that's closest to the top of the ground. Isn't that amazing? You know, that redwood trees, they're actually called giant sequoias, are the largest living being on the planet. They grow the largest. And I gathered up some statistics so that I could do this well-informed for you and really tell you what's going on with this. They can grow to an average height of 300 feet and can grow to over 50 feet in diameter. That's a monster. Look at that thing. I'm really excited to be there. Barbara's excited too. Let's see that picture of Barbara's up there. She's in the middle of the tree. It's actually somehow the structure of the tree created this opening. It's not cut in the tree. It just kind of grew that way. And she's standing around the roots of that amazing, Barbara, this was actually on the path. You see the fence behind you there? You were still on the path. You got the poison oak when you went off the path. But I digress. So you're seeing the very bottom of the tree. You know, it's really hard to take a picture of an entire sequoia. Mostly you're either taking a picture around the base of it or you're shooting up into the sky. This is again, of the base of the tree that we saw that was sitting on a bit of a knoll. In the next picture, this is started looking up into the trees and getting a sense of that. And what I've learned about these sequoias is that they'll create a canopy that keeps the bottom of the tree in shade. That's why there's no branches on the bottom of the tree, is because there's not enough light coming through for that to exist. But it'll create a canopy that actually collects all kinds of things up in it and has its own ecosystem. So hundreds of feet up in the air on its own, there are animals and plants that grow up there in this canopy and support an entire ecosystem. It's incredible. It's like what we would imagine heaven to be like. It's up there somewhere. Quite amazing. And that happens quite often in these beautiful stands of trees. And that was just, I don't think I actually laid down on the ground, but that was just looking straight up in the air when we took that picture. It's just brilliant and beautiful to see that that's what's up in the air. Let me tell you a little bit more about these amazing beings and how they exist. Get some glasses on here so I do it well. The oldest known giant sequoia, based on the ring count. I think that's in the next one. There it is. Leave that one there for me. Based on the ring count, is over 3,500 years. We talk about these trees being around when Jesus was around. They were old when Jesus was around. That's how long these beings have lived on the planet. This right here, you'd think they'd have giant pine cones. This right here is the cone of the giant sequoia. There's one right there next to a penny. They're tiny. They're tiny. It's time to go ahead and start passing those things out, guys, those of you that have the baskets. So we're going to have the baskets go around. This is your chance to take something out of one. Only today. And only at this part of the celebration. The seed cones are between 4 and 7 centimeters long, and it takes them between 18 and 20 months to mature. They're this big, and it takes them almost 2 years to be ready to let go of their seeds. Isn't that amazing? Cones typically remain green and closed for up to 20 years. 20 years. Each cone has between 30 and 50 spiral arranged scales, and several seeds are in each of those scales, giving an average of about 230 seeds to each one of these little cones. Large trees average about 11,000 cones. And a mature giant sequoia can disperse up between 300 and 400,000 seeds per year. 300 to 400,000 seeds per year. Seeds may be carried on the wind up to 600 feet. But when you're 300 feet in the air, going 600 feet out doesn't seem like that much, does it? These are amazing beings. These are amazing beings. The great American author John Steinbeck once wrote, "The redwoods, once seen, create a vision that stays with you always. They are not like any other trees we know." Did I do that right? Yes, like any other trees we know, they are ambassadors from another time. Isn't that brilliant? Yeah. So what you're receiving here is a little green card that has the seed of the giant sequoia. In that little tiny seed that you have on that card holds the potential not only of the largest living being on planet Earth, the DNA of that being, but whatever it might create, which could be giant forests of sequoias. Unknown numbers, untold numbers of these great beings exist elementally in that little seed that is taped onto the card that you're looking at. So why am I telling you this? Because there is no part of God that is any less than any other part of God. So if God can show up in this extraordinary way, you can show up in this extraordinary way. And I would compare the seed on that card before you and its potential, its potency, to be absolutely as great as every and any idea that crosses your mind. Do you see the comparison? Because truly the seed you're looking at on there is an idea. So you have ideas. The sequoia tree can have, in the form of seeds, 300, 400,000 ideas. They say that we have 10,000 thoughts a day. You know, so we're playing that kind of game too. But what's the difference? What is it that causes a seed to germinate? It germinates out of a clear intention, that it's time for this one to become something greater than the potential of the seed. So among your thoughts are thoughts of greatness, thoughts of power, thoughts of extraordinary potential. They exist inside of you all the time. They don't go away. They persist. They keep showing up. The question is, what do you do with them? Do you see the greatness in them? I know every single one of us has had great ideas. They may not seem great in the moment. They may seem like more work than they're worth. They may seem like we just don't feel like, even though we have this idea, that we would be the ones that would initiate or create something new out of it. Do we really have to do that? Well, even the great sequoia does not create itself out of nothingness. The seed has the potential. That's the whole idea of DNA. It's the structure. It's the basic building block. But it has to have other things. It has to have sunlight. Actually, the release of the seeds from the pods usually creates some kind of extreme action. Fire is one of the things that will pump the sequoia seeds out. So intense heat will do that. It also takes a coolness to be present for the seed to feel safe enough to actually germinate. There's all kinds of possibilities of what it takes. It also takes soil. It takes water. It takes sunlight. Those things have to be present for this plant to come forth in its grandest form. And you are engaged in this matrix of ideas and possibilities and connections and support that you're probably not always utilizing as fully as you can. My first experience of the sequoia and its seed came to me from my wife. Many, many years ago, like 25 years ago. She had made a trip out to a seminar and had gone through the forest. And she brought back the seeds and took a little piece of tape and taped them onto a card and gave them out one Sunday morning. I took that sheet, that little card, that little index card, and I wrote the most important ideas I could think of in my life at that time. And I wrote them on that card. And I carried that card with me for almost 20 years. Finally fell apart. But by the time I had let that go, most of those ideas that I had put in writing were true in my life. So this is your opportunity. You have a symbol. You have a clear physical presence of the largest living being on planet Earth right in your hand right now. You're looking at it. You also have ideas about how you can fully express yourself into life. Right now in your life. Resonating in your very being. What are you going to do with it? You could just leave that little card on your seat. You could throw it in the trash. You could set it on a shelf or in a drawer and let it stay there forever. Or you could start nurturing those ideas. It just takes one. You don't have to have a bunch of them. But whatever it is that's calling to you from within has as much potential as that little seed does to create something extraordinary in your life and in the world. So I challenge you to take this little card and to put some idea on it, to write down something this week on that card and put it in a place where you're going to see it every single day. And with your clear intention, your courage, your willingness, something's going to germinate into your life that's going to change everything. You just have to be willing to do it. Because if you do, everything that it's going to require to do that thing is going to show up in your life. That's how life works. That's what we know about the law of spirit. We are not separate from it. We cannot separate ourselves from it. You know, we think so much that the ideas in mind stay inside our skull, but they don't. The least of them is in our skull. The most of them is happening all around us. And it's our job to know that we're not just living our lives. We're living the life of God. And it's our job to live it as big and full and wonderfully as possible. And that takes a little extra initiative, a little extra focus, a little extra commitment to do that. I think you're up to it. I think you can do this. I know you can do this. You're the most wonderful people I know on the planet. And I'm getting to meet lots of great people these days. So let's all stop underestimating ourselves and to recognize that we are the giant sequoia. Yeah. It is powerful. We can create that life. Whatever it is to do with this, I bless you, I love you, I believe in you. Be all you're meant to be. Do this well, and life will change forever. I love you so much.